Ethereum has created the biggest decentralized hub for permissionless finance. So big, in fact, that it hasn't been able to keep up with the large amount of volume and traffic of people just using the projects and the different smart contracts that live on it. So today, I'll be introducing you to alternatives that are a lot cheaper and a lot quicker, of course, than Ethereum, that should hopefully satisfy that DeFi fix you're looking for. So let's get into it. And as we look through these different alternatives to Ethereum, we're going to want to keep three things in mind. The user base, so how many people are using the platform, how many people are using the projects within the platform. Two, the volume, how much money is coming in and out of the platform, as well as the projects within the space. And three, the fees. How much does it even cost to use this actual platform? Ethereum costs way too much, so how much are these ones costing us? Are they free? Who knows? Probably not. It's crypto. I don't know. Let's get into it. So, of course, we have to start off with Ethereum so we know what we can compare these alternatives to. So, in this case, the tokens that live on Ethereum are called ERC20 tokens. Ethereum currently is able to handle about 13 transactions per second, which in the grand scheme of things is pretty much nothing when you can consider how many people are already using it today. And that's part of the reason why it's so backed up, because it only takes 13 transactions per second, in a regular load, essentially. And because of that, the fees are extremely high right now. So right now, on average, you'll see around $10 per transaction for Ethereum. And mind you, that's really like the low-level smart contract stuff, and sometimes even sending Ethereum back and forth, or even sending ERC20 tokens, because those are technically smart contracts. In actuality, it turns out that these past couple of days, this past couple of weeks or so, transactions have been looking at right around 10, 20, 30, 40, even $50, some even higher than that, because of how clogged the Ethereum network is. This is why this video is going to be very important going forward. So as you can take a look over here, these are just some of these top decentralized finance apps that exist on Ethereum currently, pretty much the top DeFi apps. And you'll see here that the top DeFi app in general is actually Compound, with a whopping $21 billion in volume over the past 30 days. DYDX follows up with about 11.6 billion in volume over the past 30 days. And then, of course, Curve goes ahead and finishes off with about 9.9 billion. But not only that, something you want to keep in mind too is actually just how many users are using it as well. We have Synthetics actually the top in terms of users, with almost 40,000 users on the platform. And obviously Compound is about 11,000, DYDX about 18, and Curve about 8. So as you can see, we have quite a large amount of people using these different DeFi apps. But as we go forward, you'll actually see that Ethereum actually might not have the most users, especially as of recent, because again, this network clogging essentially has been happening for quite longer than a month, actually. So that's probably why there's such a decrease in users, because usually there would be a lot more than this. So let's go ahead and move on to the first alternative, which is going to be the Binance Smart Chain. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Binance, obviously the exchange. They also have their own pretty much decentralized smart chain as well. So again, very similar to Ethereum, but what you'll see here and what you'll notice right away is the amount of users that are using literally just actually one of these apps. PancakeSwap, in this case, is taking up about 100,000 users over the past 30 days. You'll see it's a 484% increase. And that's a clear reason why that Ethereum is losing a lot of people, because people are deciding to go with different platforms to conduct their DeFi to conduct their DeFi business essentially. But something again, of course, about Binance, the tokens on Binance are technically BEP20 tokens. Transaction fees are currently around 1 to 3 cents per transaction, and it does look like that includes smart contracts as well. So again, very, very cheap. And the block time is right around every 3 seconds. So you could consider that about 3 times faster than Ethereum currently. Ethereum currently has about 12.89, and Binance claims about every 3 seconds. I couldn't find an actual transaction speed, mainly probably just because they didn't want to promise anything. But that block speed should tell you enough. So it's at least 4 times faster than Ethereum and a lot cheaper. So about 3 cents it looks like. But obviously, if you have used Binance Chain before, let me know down below if it was a little more expensive than that, because 3 cents seems like very cheap. But not only that, again, let's take a look at PancakeSwap. So as you can see, PancakeSwap has about $600 million in volume. And again, the most users by far, I mean, out of any DeFi app. Again, looking at Ethereum, comparing the two, the closest Ethereum gets is to 39,000. That's the closest. So taking a look at PancakeSwap now, you'll see that you can actually, it's pretty much, I think it first started off as a clone of Uniswap, like the Uniswap that exists on Ethereum, where you can just swap tokens. But in this case, they actually took it a lot further, and you are now able to can stake liquidity pool tokens. I'm sure, obviously, you can go ahead and yield farm as well. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do here. So it's a lot more than just your average, decentralized exchange. And honestly, I can see why. I can see why now that there's so many users on this, because it's essentially like a hub for decentralized finance. They have a lottery, they have NFTs, different pools you can contribute to, all this stuff. And then, of course, they have the exchange. So definitely makes a lot of sense. It could be that they're just including the exchange part too. So maybe that's why there's so many users. Now, not only that, something else I wanted to highlight about the Binance chain is that this one application over your Venus is doing over $5.8 billion worth of volume. That is crazy. It's a sleeper, clearly, because it's not that many people using it, but the amount of volume that's in it is tremendous, and it pretty much has the most balance as well. That has the most stored in the two. So there you go. Binance Chain is definitely going to be one of the strongest competitors for Ethereum currently. And just because Binance already rules. Binance already rules most of the crypto space. When I say rule, I'm saying they have they have one of the biggest exchanges. They have pretty much the most liquidity in terms of all that stuff to give back to the crypto space, which is great to see. And I think any other time that they've been hacked or whatnot, obviously CZ always gave back everyone's funds, of course. What a nice guy. But they're killing the space in every which way, and they're even making a smart chain that could potentially compete with their main exchange, which is pretty nuts. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at Tron next. Oh, and by the way, actually, I almost forgot to mention, one thing you want to look at in terms of these DeFi applications is the wallets that they have available. Make sure that they have a web extension, like a Chrome, pretty much web extension, so that you can actually use decentralized finance with it. Because otherwise, you won't be able to access obviously these applications without using a Web3 wallet, which is pretty much exactly what this is. It's much like MetaMask. If you have it on your desktop, you just go to the Chrome Web Store and you download it from here. But make sure it's a legitimate wallet, because I'm sure there are some scams out there. Make sure you see what I'm looking at right now. This is the legit one. All right, go to their website and find it there. I would not look it up on Google. I would just go to their website. That's what I would do. Okay. All right, moving on to Tron. Now, Tron obviously is going to be another one. In terms of transactions per second, they can hit about 1,000 plus. Again, there are claims being thrown around all over the place. The main thing with all these claims that you hear about these tokens and protocols being able to throw around such big transactions is that they're not able to do it yet. Well, they are able to do it. It's just that they aren't doing it currently because they don't have that many transactions coming through in the first place, right? I mean, a lot of these, like maybe Tron or EOS, I think it was, they may be able to do up to 1,000 or more, but they haven't been because there's not that many people using it currently, right? So maybe currently they're only doing 20 or 30 or 40. But even so, that's a lot more than Ethereum. So definitely keep that in mind, because you're going to want to be able to find a chain that can handle a lot of transactions, so there's no clogging. No clogging equals, no high fees, essentially. And then in terms of fees, Tron actually, at first I actually thought the fees were zero, but after doing some more digging, the fees are actually just infinitely small. The fees are so small that they consider them zero. But they're very cheap from what I understand. I mean, they're almost negligible. So that's great to see too, right? Way faster than Ethereum, and the fees are very small. Personally, looking at this chart, you can see here that there isn't that many people actually using, Tron in this case. I mean, the most volume that one of these projects has in terms of like a 30-day period looks like it's the Just token, or the Just volume. Actually, no, even down here, we have a couple of them hitting some high volume caps, golden eggs, whatever that is, right? The point is that, again, it's another alternative and something you want to keep in mind, and I think Just in this case is going to be the biggest one in terms of for Tron's ecosystem, is that like for you to maybe what you want to do is not only find an alternative to Ethereum, just like we're doing right now, but also look at these different projects within these ecosystems that you like, and then maybe see if it's worth getting into it. Because when you invest into a project in one of these ecosystems, like you're investing into the project itself. For example, like if you want to get in this one, not only are you investing in the Just stable coin or whatever it is, but you're also investing in Tron because it's built on that blockchain. So you want to keep that in mind, because personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Tron, so I wouldn't want to even take part in any of these different contracts. But the point is that it's an alternative and it's there to use. That's the point. And they also, of course, have their own little web wallet as well, and a lot of people are using it. I mean, honestly, this looks like there's more people using this one than the Binance one. Hold on, let's take a look real quick. Oh wow, yeah, there's a lot more people using that one. So there you go. Right? I know because I know Tron is a huge community behind Justin's Sun, so it makes sense. Right. And moving on to the next one, let's take a look at EOS. EOS is going to be the next runner-up. I honestly think I almost would consider EOS. I would almost say EOS is bigger than Tron in terms of value, but market cap it doesn't. I mean, users, I don't think so though. Because users, I think Tron has more. But EOS is also able to hit up to about 1,000 transactions per second and even more. The difference with EOS and Tron, Binance, and Ethereum is that they actually don't have any fees on their blockchain. Apparently, really, they have their own type of mechanism. They like the idea of not putting the burden of paying the miners on the people who are using the platform, which I think is pretty cool. But of course, again, transaction speed is great. Again, above 1,000, and some reports are even up to about 9,000. I think after they did some stress tests and whatnot. Again, it's pretty irrelevant at this point, only because they're not hitting that volume anyways. Not that many people are using EOS in the first place. What you really want to keep that in mind for is if people really start to adopt it all of a sudden, then yeah, that's going to be important. But right now, it doesn't matter. And then of course we have all these different applications as well. And the first one, from what it looks like, the biggest one in terms of volume is going to be pizza. Pizza, yeah, that's right, pizza. So, and they have about 6,500 users for pizza. DeFi Box is going to be the next at 57 million in terms of volume, with about 2.6 thousand users in general. And mind you, these users are essentially just wallets that are interacting with it. That doesn't mean that like I could have two wallets interact with it, and that'll still count as two users because I'm using two different wallets, right? But yeah. Pizza in this case does look like another type of way to just lend, borrow, and all that stuff. One thing to keep in mind is that this isn't natively in English, so if you're kind of getting onto the website, you're gonna have to translate it. As you can see, I translated it already, but there's still some parts that are. It looks like it's in Chinese, right? Is that what it said? Simplified Chinese. Yeah. So henhao. But with that being said, those are going to be the three biggest competitors in terms of decentralized finance that I could definitely see. And I would recommend if you are looking for alternatives to Ethereum. There are a bunch of other smaller players as well. If you did want to take a look, oh, by the way, I almost forgot. You can use Wombat for their web extension. Make sure whatever platform you get on has a web extension. Please. But the next one was Wanchain. Again, honorable mentions here, smaller players. We got Wanchain over here. Mainly, I'm bringing this up because I know they have a huge community on their Twitter and their Discord. One of my friends was actually putting me onto Wanchain as well. And funny enough, they weren't even listed on this website, dapradar.com or even dap.com. Both websites I recommend you checking out if you did want to get involved in one of these platforms. But they weren't listed on any of them, which is very surprising to me. So it's, obviously this is another great option to use. It seems like they have a pretty big community over there and a whole bunch of applications you can mess with. And it looks like they're all available on the what's it called, on the phone as well. Unless this is just them saying that it's compatible with it. That's different. Anyways, moving on to another smaller player that I am actually a fan of. It's actually going to be Terra. So I was talking about this the other day, Terra, in my video about Mirror Protocol. This is essentially what Mirror is built on top of, the Terra blockchain, and they actually use Luna as their ticker, I think is what it was. So Terra is like Earth, Luna is like the moon, right? Luna's like the moon, right? Or the sun. Luna is the moon. Luna's the moon. But the point is that it works very well, and although their ecosystem isn't huge yet, again, they do already have Mirror Protocol, which I think is dope. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's really interesting, the fact that you can trade stocks on here without needing to pretty much give any of your information like you would Robinhood or TD Ameritrade or anything like that. So obviously, to me, just great utility here. Definitely one of the smallest ones in terms of like usage, like we were looking at. So unless you you wanted to participate in Mirror specifically, it doesn't seem like Terra has too many different projects built onto it just yet. But again, it could be the type of thing where you do want to kind of grow with it as it gets bigger. It just depends. It depends how much risk you're willing to take at the end of the day. So again, those top three that I mentioned earlier, those are going to be the main competitors for Ethereum in terms of current, already flourishing environments for decentralized finance. You do have those smaller ones, just like Chain and Terra, ones that I personally think are pretty dope. And then honorable mentions could also include Thundercore, Tomo Chain, Zilliqa, Clayton, iOS, ONT, and even Neo, the famed Ethereum killer, the Chinese Ethereum that people were talking about in 2017. Not doing too hot. But either way, the point is that those are all different, types of platforms you can do some research on. I really just wanted to give you, a starting point so you can really see which platform you would prefer. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, I think the best platform will have three things. An Ethereum bridge. So not only will it operate on one of those platforms I mentioned, but it should also have some sort of shuttle or bridge that'll interact with Ethereum as well, because Ethereum is the king at the end of the day, let's be honest. It should cater to developers, so people are actually building something on it, right? People can't use it if there's no projects on it. And of course, it has to have good marketing, bro. Whether the community is just ecstatic about it, or whether the team itself is able to market themselves through ads or Twitter or what have you. People need to know about it. If they don't know about it, then they might as well not be there. So with that being said, please like the video if you. So with that being said, I'd appreciate a like if you appreciate what your boy is doing, and subscribe, of course, so you don't miss out on any of my crypto-related content. Have a good day, you sick degenerates. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.